You know, the other day I saw a math teacher with a piece of graph paper. I think he must be plotting something. Why was their math class so long? Why do you think that teacher's math class was so long? Oh. Yeah, I dodged him. I dodged him.
Can I be excused for the rest of my life?
No, you may not be excused for the rest of your life, pirate. It's time to learn a little bit about math before we jump into Rainworld. I saw some discourse on social media recently about the so-called new math, so I'm going to briefly touch on it. And we have some Plastic Love instrumental playing in the background. Perfect. So let's head on into the lesson room, and we'll talk about it. So this is what I saw the other day. This is what I saw. Much like a lot of parents when they see this so-called new math, when their child brings it back as homework, they get very upset because they can't do it. They can't help their child with the homework. But it's also frustrating for teachers. So I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. This person says that they don't have the patience if this is what they should be expecting with kids' homework. Because this is the subtraction problem that the student was presented in their homework. I want to tell you why this is actually a very good problem and a very good method to teach students. What you see here is a problem that says 12 minus 3. But it tells them, as there is a 2 coming off of this 3, that there's got to be something in this blue box to make it equal, right? And yes, you are right, pirate. The blue box is supposed to be a 1. And the process it shows here is to go to 12 minus 2. Whoa! Yes, this process here says to go from 12 minus 3, in which you might need to count backwards or count on your fingers. 12, 11, 10, 9. But what this is trying to do is instill this math reasoning into the student. It shows that you go to 12 minus 2 equals 10, and then you can minus one more to get 9, the answer. Why is this important? Why is this helpful? This helps to reinforce base 10 in the student's mind. And this makes future math problems a lot easier. It makes higher math a lot easier when you have this kind of math reasoning background. What this does is teach numeracy rather than rote memorization. It teaches you how to manipulate numbers in your head. It allows you to understand that math problems can be broken up, they can be grouped, they can be split into different numbers, they can be moved around. They're not just static things. They're not just numbers on a page. They're ideas. But this isn't so much new math. This is very old math. And what I mean by that is that this is one of the fundamental understandings of algebra. This is helping students get an early head start on more complicated aspects of math. This helps them understand that they can make equations. And I'll show you what I mean. What this problem really is select a pen here. We're gonna pick good pen. See how this one works. Yeah, that'll work. Make it a bit thicker. There we go. Right, thickness pen there for you to see. Yeah, all right. All right, what this problem is showing the student that 12 is 3 equals 12, 2 minus 1. And what does this look like? What kind of problem does this more look like? That is correct. it looks like algebra. It makes it very easy to do more complicated problems in your head because it teaches you that you can break things down into tens, which then leads to being able to break things down into fives, being able to round up or down to get quick approximations, and then be able to get exact answers more easily. So how do we do that? This kind of problem helps you to do something much more complicated. Much more complicated, like this. Let's say we want to figure out 45 times 5. That's a much more complicated problem. Much more difficult to do in your head. But we can do it pretty easily in our head. You know how? What would it be if we did 45 times 10 instead? We want to teach the number sense for 10 because this is one of the easiest things to do. With tens or 10%, you just add a 0 or move a decimal place one spot to the left. But yes, that would be 450. But of course, we're not looking for 45 times 10, we're looking for 45 times 5. But 45 times 5 would be half of this. Can you quickly tell us what half of 450 is? 225. There you go. But understanding that process that we just did, we can do something that's much more difficult. 45 times 5 is pretty easy, but what if it was 47 times 5? What if it was 47 times 5 instead? We can still just make that 47 times 10. And what would that give us? You can just add 2 more 5s, and you can do this either way. It gives you so many more options for figuring things out because you have a number sense. You have math reasoning, rather than understanding things just in rote memorization. You're actually grasping math conceptually. Yeah, Vtuber, you can do 470 to 235. Exactly. You're grasping the number sense for it. You can still do 45 times 5 equals 225. And then you've just got 2 more 5s, which of course is 10 more. So 235. You would like to firmly grasp the math and toss it out the window? Yes. A lot of people that I've dealt with math about would agree. I've done some tutoring and I've taught this to some middle schoolers and high schoolers who were a little bit behind in math. And when the light bulb goes off, it really goes off. This in particular with multiplication teaches people to grasp multiplication conceptually. Like I said, it teaches them that these are groups of numbers, that this is 47 groups of 5 or 5 groups of 47, which really makes it easy to break up. You can make it 40 groups of 5 and then add 7 more groups of 5. You can make this 47 times 7. That might be even easier if you were to multiply it by, or if you were to just make this 50 times 7. But yeah, you could make this 50 times 7, which is pretty easy because that gives you 100 times 7 equals 700. And then of course that's half of it. So half of 700, 350. So 50 times 7 is 350. But it's not 50 times 7 that we're looking for. It's 47 times 7. So we need 3 less 7s. You can pretty easily understand that 3 7s is 21. So we can minus 21 from 350, which we should be able to do in our head. And again, we can use that process here again. We can just say, what's 350 minus 20? 330. But we need 1 more less than that. 329 is our answer. Pirate, you can do that too. 50 times 10 and take out 350s. It allows you to do whatever feels easier to you intuitively. I've liked to do this with the students that I've tutored in math with percentages, because I can use examples that are really relevant to them. With high school students, I've done things like talk about interest rates, because we don't teach enough financial literacy, right? Stores will put things on sale, right? Or claim that they're putting them on sale, but they'll raise the price just before they put it on sale. Or they'll say something like, originally this price, but now it's this price, even though they were actually selling it for about the same as they did before the discount or the sale, or putting it on clearance or whatever. Just to trick you into buying it, or to give you some FOMO. You don't want to miss out on this special deal. It's so much more affordable now. So they've got a new, let's make it relevant to you. Name something you might like to buy at the store. A VR headset, Bitch Shepherd. That's a great one. Yeah, VR headset. Let's say the VR headset is normally $1,200. That's how much they usually sell it for. Or how much they claim they usually sell it for. Yeah. But now they're saying that they're going to do it 25% off. It's 25% off for this VR headset. For this VR headset. Bloop, bloop. With your little eyeballs there. 25% off. Oh my goodness, what a great deal. We got to get it. I need it now. When in reality, if you had gone there a week earlier, they'd actually priced it at $1,000. Is it a better deal on their special sale at 25% off? Is it actually a better deal? Well, let's figure it out. 25% is another number that we can quickly make into a rounder number that's easier to work with in our head. We could quickly turn it into 50%. Figuring out 50% of 1,200 is pretty easy. Just half of it. 600. But of course, we're not looking for 50% of it. We're looking for 25% of it. But that's just one more half. So now we just need half of 600. 300. This VR headset that they're claiming is usually $1,200 and is 25% off on their very special deal that's only for today. Get it now. Don't miss out. Is actually 1,200 minus 300. You're actually getting it for $900. Their usual price is actually $1,000. So you are in fact saving $100. But they're making it look like you're saving $300. They're making it look like the discount is 3 times higher than it actually is. Very deceptive. And of course, this will work with more complicated numbers. If it was 1,247 at 19% off, you could still go through the process we've been talking about and pretty quickly get to the correct answer. And if you were just doing it in your head as a quick calculation, you could get the rounded amount and get a general idea, be in the ballpark pretty quickly. Yes, yes. I've also done this with things like if the student is into sports, I'll do, what is your favorite quarterback's completion percentage if they threw 37 passes and completed 30 of them? Things like that. But at any rate, what my point is with what I've been talking about this whole time is that this new math, as they call it, isn't new. It's been around a long time, and it works. And it gives students a much better number sense, gives them more math reasoning skills that can help them when they get to higher maths, and gives them a head start. Yes. Yes, parents can be frustrated by their lack of understanding of new teaching methods, but when they reflexively act out like that and lash out, it just doesn't help anyone. You like my little Finn sketch there, Bitch Shepherd? Yeah. I love Finn. Finn is a spirit animal for sure. Exactly, Rao. Their strong preference for the way they learned was better. It's sort of the same thing as the classic, well, I did it that way, and I did it this way, and I turned out fine. Well, no, you didn't. You really didn't. When again, this isn't new. It's been around a while. And I hate the implication that it gives that, somehow teachers are purposely, deliberately teaching something in a way that's less effective, just worse. Like, what's the end game? What benefit do they get? What are they gaining from supposedly teaching something the wrong way in a way that doesn't make as much sense or doesn't help? Why would they do it? As if this was just something that came to them in a dream and they decided they were going to teach it because they like it better. No, that's not how education pedagogy works. It was something that was tested and researched and studied, and students were able to learn better using it. That's why they started using it. Yeah, so sort of disempowering the poor, Nomaken. Bitch Shepherd, you say most people don't really grok math. They assume since math is an unchanging monolith, the education of it wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. It's just a change in the methods, just a change in the way to understand it. A change towards understanding it conceptually and getting a grasp of it that way. So you can reason it out better in your head. Math is math. Why do they need to change it? Yeah, exactly. They didn't. They didn't change the math. They just changed the way to think about it. They changed how you can understand it better. Math is math. Fun things are fun. Yeah, I don't think they're going to give an edit button in Twitch. Probably not anytime soon. Twitch is probably just not very responsive in general to what people want. They do whatever they want and like. Vagu and Ponos. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I've heard some wild things from young people about what they think about sex. Yeah, these are also the kind of parents who claim, my kid can come to me with anything. No, you're the kind of parent that your kid would never come to you with anything at all. You would be the last person they would tell if they had a problem or had some serious issue they wanted to discuss. Gosh, I should really do a whole lesson on sex ed for young adults. There are still things that I'm sure lots of people just don't understand, even as they grow up. But maybe that would get me in trouble with Twitch if I, had science diagrams and stuff and was talking about sex, even if it was for purely educational purposes. You're quite confused, Siddiqui, on the conversation topic. Let me actually go back and show you a little bit about it, because this is really interesting. There were people very upset on Twitter today because someone's 8-year-old came back from class with math homework that said, oh, let me get my pencil back. That said 12 minus 3, but had two boxes that the 3 went down into 2 and something else. And what it was meant to show the student is that you put a 1 here. Instead of just counting backwards from 12, 12, 11, 10, 9, to get the 9, you can think about it as 12 minus 2 minus 1. Because that gives you a much easier process to say, oh, 12 minus 2 is 10. And then minus 1 more equals 9. And the parents were upset because they think this is just adding meaningless extra steps, and that's not the way they learned it. But this is providing a a very important conceptual understanding. And the concept is that you can move numbers around, break them apart, group them together, however you need to. Because that's what you do in higher maths like algebra. What this is saying, what it's teaching the student is that 12 minus 3 equals 12 minus 2 minus 1. What does this equation look more like as compared to this subtraction problem? Yes, math is math. This looks much more like algebra. It's showing the student some of the basics of ideas of things like algebra. That equations can equal other equations. That you can move these numbers around. This helps them get a understanding of numbers as concepts. Algebraic. That was why I did that little fin drawing. Did you catch that? Why I did the little fin drawing on the last page? Now Rouse says you could do it as 6 plus 6 minus 2 minus 1. Yeah, you could do it. You could mix it up however you wanted. Mathematical. You caught that, Finn? Yeah. And I was saying that by understanding this and giving you a head start on algebra can ramp up to things that are in multiplication when you start getting a little bit higher. By teaching you that you can break things up into tens because we use a base 10 system, reinforcing our understanding of base 10. You can do things in your head that would normally seem really daunting, like 47 times 7. Like, wow, that seems pretty difficult. That seems more challenging to do in your head quickly. But when you understand that you can break things up into tens, then you understand that you can also break things up into fives, halves, quarters, and that this actually equals 50 times 7 minus 3 times 7. This really helps you understand multiplication as a group of numbers. It helps you understand that this is 50 groups of 7s. Yeah, long subtraction too, exactly, Loon. It's just columns, but on this smaller scale. And I don't mean columns like the old Sega game. Yeah, that was actually not a very good game. Exactly, City. But you can think of this as 50 times 7 minus 3 times 7. And even this might seem, oh, what's 50 times 7? Well, what's 100 times 7? Tens and hundreds are really easy to work with. 100 times 7 is 700. But of course, we're not looking for 100 times 7. We're looking for 50 times 7. And that's half of this. And you can pretty quickly figure out half of 700. 350. But, of course, we just do one more step because we were looking for 47 times 7. So we need this additional 3 times 7. And 3 times 7 is pretty easy. You do still teach the multiplication tables for the simple things like this. And that's 21. So it's 21 less than 350. And you can do that in your head. And you can do the same process. You just sort of mentally cross out that 1 for now. And it's 350 minus 20, which is a pretty easy 330. And minus one more, 329. That's something you could do in your head to get 47 times 7 equals 329. Yeah, so that was my little spiel about the new math and figuring things out in a more conceptual way. And it can work with any numbers. You can use this with percentages. You can use this for interest rates. And really, you'll start getting an intuitive grasp of it to where, if it's 47, you move up to 50. If it's 27, you might move down to 25 instead. because then that's just doing the 50, doing one more half of it, going one more step on this and getting your 25, and then doing another 2, because 25 plus 2 equals 7. Or, yeah, 27. Yeah, this kind of conceptual math is really useful and really helpful, and we all wish parents would be a little more understanding and take more interest in their child's math homework rather than just, wanting to get it done. But of course, I don't believe in homework anyways. Students shouldn't be getting up at 7:30 in the morning to do 8 hours of school and then come back and need to do more school. We don't make parents in most cases bring work home with them and do more work after their 8-hour workday. Why are we expecting students to do it when they're supposed to be playing? They're supposed to be learning and getting cognitive and physical development through play. One of the most important things in a child's life is learning through play and natural activity. Yes, yes. Anyway, that's my whole thing. Does anyone have any questions about this? This wasn't really a planned lesson. It was just something that I got a little bit upset about earlier in the day. Rao, you've got a question here. 45 times 7 equals 90. Times 3 times 45 equals 270. Plus 45 equals 315. Let me actually put this up on the screen, because I like what you're doing here. I like what you're putting out. 45 times 7 equals 90 times 3 plus 45 equals 270 plus 45, excuse my writing here, equals 315. 315 plus 14 equals 329. Very good. Exactly. You can just swap this around and do whatever. Of course, this kind of thing where we did, 12 minus 3 equals 12 minus 2 minus 1. This also leads into, other systems where you have a number and a number and a number and a number, right? Or for x plus 3, 2 minus 3 equals 9. This equation looks a lot more like this equation than just 12 minus 3. I think another benefit of this is that it also makes stuff like this feel less daunting when you get into higher math. When you move up a grade and you start seeing algebra equations, that first gut reaction from a student is like, oh my god, how am I supposed to do stuff with x? But now they already have an understanding that it's just this with one more step. They already have some of the earlier steps in mind. Yes. And I'm not a math teacher. This felt intuitive to me. It's something that I sort of stumbled across later on my own because it was intuitive. And a lot of people are like that. Rao, you tend to round down, you say, when you do the brain math. Working with 50 certainly does. Yeah, I love to just split things in halves, because getting halves and then halves and then halves, like if I was doing, 23% or 25% or something, I would like to break it into a 50 first, and then I can break it into another half. Young students especially, they have an easier grasp of things like 50, half of things, because you have that visual in your head of half. This is your circle, this is your number. You can easily think of half. That's a bad half. There. Getting a mental picture of math is also really, really good. We can conceptualize half really easily, and that helps us conceptualize quarters really easily. halves of halves. Yes. And of course, those 10% are really easy, just needing to move a decimal point one spot. Or move it the other way. And add a 0. Yeah. I really like this type of math. I think it's very helpful and beneficial. It makes sense. And there's a reason why teachers teach it in modern math classes. So yeah, if you see discourse like this, you see parents upset about, oh, the new math, just know that there's a reason that we do it as teachers. And even as someone who just tutors math occasionally, I find that students, once that light bulb goes off, they're like, oh my God, I can just move these numbers around in my head. It really gives you more of a sense of control. You're in control of these numbers. Angry parents, you say, should be sprayed with clean water until complaints cease. Yeah, some of them might also need a bath. Like I said, they are the kind of parents who are like, oh, I'm the only person who should talk to my kids about certain things. And then they never do. And they're tablet parents. It's really frustrating. But yes, I guess I am sort of avoiding playing Rain World again. Don't want to get bodied by the mosquito mama. But all right, I will get back into it. I do want to remind you, though, reminder that on Valentine's Day, we have a very special stream planned and a very special lesson that I'm going to do on the so-called love languages. I missed a letter in there. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about a more effective and more researched relationship model that can help people improve their relationships with their partners. I know this might seem like, it's kind of a deep topic, and maybe this isn't what you were looking for in a VTuber. Someone who's going to talk about, real lessons and teach things, and maybe you don't like school and you don't want to learn. I try to keep it interesting and fun. And what I've found is that a lot of other teacher VTubers, they're not a huge section of the VTuber gimmicks. There are mostly other types of gimmicks out there. But most of them, they just sort of touch on learning topics quite briefly or just in a rather shallow way. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it. But I don't know many who do this sort of thing that I do. I do have about 30 slides prepared for that lesson on Valentine's Day. I spent a good deal of time preparing that because it's a topic of great interest to me. There are, I know, some art streamers and Japanese language teachers who do full lessons, which is great. I don't see a whole lot of others doing full lessons, and I hope that you get something out of it. And I try to make all of my lessons have some applicability to your life. Like, being able to do mental math. Learning a little bit about love languages. Learning to have better mental health on social media and not let it, affect your mental health. Try to avoid just doing things in platitudes. I'm not for engagement bait and things like that. Also, I should tell you, like I said, after Valentine's Day, the week later, it will be on supplements, fact and fiction, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the things that are just junk that they're selling that will not help you, things that are maybe just overpriced, and some of the things that actually do work and can have a decent difference in your quality of life. I also, hopefully, I have a lesson that I'm hoping to have, a collaboration with a wonderful streamer named Sider, who is a social psychologist. And we're going to talk about neurodivergence and issues related to education. Facts about neurodivergence, some of the social and educational barriers that they face, and how we can make more inclusive classrooms and help them to succeed. So that's something I'm also going to be planning on doing. Yeah, I do think it is time for Rain World. I've delayed. I've put it off long enough. We do have to go back into the world of Rain and get my butt kicked some more by Mosquito Mama and Green Lizards and such. How much we have grown. Hey, thank you for the gold stars, Bitch Shepherd. Oh. Thank you for the hearts, Loon. All right. Yes. Thank you for sticking around. And now let us get into Rain World.